The rise of mass consumerism seems to have sparked people's desire for unique handcrafted items. At the core of the resurgence of the handcrafted movement are the fiber arts. In this segment of Frame, we will experience the creative process involved in spinning and weaving. To lead us in this conversation is our guest, Janette Ryan-Busch. Thank you for having us at your farm.
You're welcome.
What are the fiber arts?
Well, fiber arts include a lot of things: knitting, spinning, weaving, tatting, even quilting is a fiber art. So there's really a wide variety of fiber arts.
And today we're focused on spinning and weaving.
Yeah, and spinning is actually one of the oldest fiber. Well, weaving is very old too, but spinning is one of the oldest fiber arts there is. I mean, spindles have been around for thousands of years. Shepherds used to spin while they were watching their flocks, because it's a highly portable. If you do drop spindles, which is what this is, which is what I just taught Yvette how to do, it's a highly portable art. And there's a lot of different kinds of spindles. These are top whirl spindles. Jill has a Turkish spindle here. These were common in Turkey and parts of Russia, and they're all different ways to create yarn. And spinning just basically means that we're taking the fibers and twisting them together.
It's quite intoxicating, I was going to say.
Yes, it's very intoxicating. And so it just really is where you're just spinning out the fibers, and then you let the spin of the drop spindle just move on up into the fibers, and then it becomes very, very strong. And so drop spindles and drop spindling was the first. And then there was the invention of the spinning wheels. And I'm not even sure what exact year it was invented, but Leonardo da Vinci developed the part of the wheel that makes it a self-winding bobbin. On a wheel here, I'll do a little bit.
Which is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And what kind of yarn are you using?
This is fiber that is from sheep and goats and llamas. And this is fiber that's from my flock. So it's a mix of wool and mohair.
Yeah. You can use cashmere and silk and
you can spin linen, you can spin cotton, you can spin hemp, you can spin ramie, you can spin bamboo. I mean, there's almost endless fibers for spinning.
No wonder it's been around since the beginning of civilization, because every archaeologist has discovered some form of a spindle that they used even as really ornate pieces of art.
Some of them are very, very ornate.
This is so simple. I am completely mesmerized by this.
Well,
you taught me this in
like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Literally 10 minutes. And Jill just learned last fall, and now she's a spinning fool.
She's a well, I understand. It's very relaxing and
very
therapeutic.
relaxing.
And there's nothing like making something with your own hands. We should say, if we hadn't said, we are visiting you during a Spinning and Weavers workshop, a mini weekend seminar.
Yes, it's a Weavers weekend here.
All right.
Which is another, really important part of fiber arts. Weaving has been around for centuries also. And weaving and knitting both have been, historically, they can become subversive arts.
It's interesting, as you are giving us some history, is that you look at today's times and culture, and you can kind of see the parallels in some respects. People desire to not only, I'd say, disconnect from the 24/7 lifestyle we tend to lead with technology to relax, but also with what else is going on in the world, it makes sense to me that this resurgence is here. Okay, so how about we back up? I'm just whipping through what you gave me, what you started me with, and will you give us an overview of how you start learning on the drop spindle?
So this is the whirl, and it's a weight, and that's what keeps the motion going.
Like, a top spin.
It's like
that you use when you were a kid,
like a top
playing with
spin
it.
that you played with when you were a kid. Exactly the same principle. And so what we do is, there's two ways to do it. You can do what's called flick spinning, which is just using your fingers and flicking, or you can do thigh spinning, which is my personal preference. You always want to go clockwise. So what I did was got a bunch of twist on here, and now, I don't know if you can see or not, but it's very, very twisted and compressed. Now I just stick it between my legs, and then this is the part that's called drafting. So I'm just thinning these fibers out a little bit, and then I pinch up here so it won't go on up, and I let go, and magically it turns into yarn.
That is just neat.
So you just draft it out, pinch up here, let go, magically.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Boom.
And it feels kind of like you're going to lose it.
Yeah, it does feel like you're going to lose it, and especially in the beginning, yeah.
Right, but it just, you have to trust.
Yes.
Trust the process.
Yeah, and you do have to trust the process, and that's part of the reason that people probably like it.
Trust the process.
Because we have to trust the process. Look at you, you're already doing it.
I am just working it. Look at that. I could really get into this.
Well, and when you get better, I mean, like I can actually spin without parking it. So I can spin just having my spindle hang there. But in the beginning, I'm a big fan of teaching people to park it when they're learning to spin.
How long have you been spinning?
I've been spinning for about 12 years, somewhere in that length of time, yeah.
What sparked your interest, actually?
What sparked my interest was actually animals. I'm truly come from an animal lover point.
I love your animals.
They're
you share them,
yes,
and then you die. Is this from your farm?
This is all from my farm.
Beautiful. Yep. How do you get this color?
I do use acid dyes. I do some natural dyes, but I don't do massive amounts of natural dyes. And sometimes you spin fiber that is just naturally colored off the sheep. I mean, sheep and goats do come in beautiful grays and browns and cream colors.
Yep. So,
see?
Now what happened there?
I broke it.
Well, how do you
get
it back? How do you fix it?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, how you
show
fix
us the
it.
secret.
And so, I mean, so I just said I've been spinning for 12 years and I broke it.
Well, I've already done that.
I know, but everybody goes, oh, but. So I think it makes people feel better if somebody who's been doing it for a while. So to get it back, you just merely kind of loosen up this end so that it's a nice, you've got a nice fuzzy tail there.
Okay.
And then we splice another nice loose piece from the fiber on there.
Uh-huh.
And then just start spinning again, get a lot of twist on it, and put the two together and just kind of twist them with my hand. And there we go.
That's pretty neat.
It's
very forgiving.
It's very forgiving. And you know, in the beginning, the first yarn you spin will not be totally smooth, but it's fun, interesting yarn.
Yep.
Like the yarn you've been spinning is, you know, it's designer yarn.
Ooh, I like designer. Now, there are different types of yarn that you can make, though. It doesn't, I think, at least for me, I think of really smooth, consistent with yarn. My mother taught me how to crochet when I was a little girl.
Right.
Okay, so I'm remembering that. But there are different types of yarn. You can have kind of chunks. What's that?
Right.
Lumps.
Lumpy, bumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And interspersed.
Heavily textured yarns. Yeah. Like actually on a piece that's on the loom here, there's smooth yarns and textured yarns together in a piece.
Do you want to show us some of the other activities happening here?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a room full of fun people. I am intrigued by the looms. You've seen the table version, and now we are witnessing Barb at the floor version. And I have incorporated into our story Jane Woodhouse, who came in from Vermont to lead the weaving portion of the workshop this weekend. Would you please help us understand these beautiful tools that are being used to create woven art?
Well, this is a floor loom, which is sort of the advanced version of the table loom. In my opinion, they're easier to use. You have your hands free when you're working on a floor loom. Ultimately, if you've been weaving for a long time, you can weave very, very fast. I mean, it's almost like a machine. You can go so fast. There are floor looms. This one's operated manually, meaning your feet hit the treadles. The treadles do the lifting, and you can do combinations of harnesses, which makes for a more complicated weave. What Barb is working on here, and Barb, this is the first time she's woven, so she's a brand new weaver, and she decided to sit down and try this. But it's a fairly plain fabric, but what we were trying to do is this piece sample that's on the loom, when it comes off, can open up, and it's double the size. So there's 2 layers to it. It's connected on one side. Floor looms, in particular jacquard looms, which have been around for hundreds of years, were the first computer technology. They used punch cards, and it was that technology that led to the key punch, large frame computers that were used prior to when we all had personal computers.
Now, how long have you been working with looms, and then when did you pick up teaching?
I took a weaving class in college back in the early 70s. I was a clothing and textile major, and I went over to art ed and took a weaving class, and then sort of just kept at it. I picked up workshops, I got some equipment, and in 1979 I actually took a job weaving fabric for somebody that did limited edition clothing design, and I still do that kind of work today. And I did go back to college to get a master's, I just wanted to do more with what I was doing, and after that I started teaching some.
So since you work in the fashion industry to some extent, are you seeing more of this, and
there is a lot more right now? There's sort of this resurgence. For a while it was knitting but not so much weaving, but now people are starting to weave a lot more too. It'll be interesting to see what people do with it.
We have another participant in this weekend's workshop, which is Jill. Jill, how are you doing? Thanks for letting us peek in on your work. What are you making?
I'm making a little rug, and it's made with wool, and you have to beat it really hard to get the fibers to compact and be a very thick, sturdy project. Here's a sample of a rug that Jane did, and then we're learning how to do these different chevron patterns in it and things.
Beautiful. So it's to be really tightly,
very tight
woven.
Yeah. In a rug, you're gonna beat as hard as you can because you want it to be sturdy on the floor.
Absolutely. Yeah. Any parting words of wisdom and encouragement?
Well, just that the fiber arts are really good, and they're accessible to everyone.
Thank you so much, Janette, for being on this segment of Frame and giving us such a strong overview of the fiber arts. And we hope that you have had fun as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Frame is sponsored by Allegra, Click Marketing Solutions, Style Folio Jewelry,